Introducing the world's best planar hat. Yeah, that is the 7 Hz planar hat. And it plays sound, you know, S-tier tuning as well, and also S-tier technicalities. Oh man, yes, it is a 7 Hz timeless hat. Thank you to the 7 Hz team for sending me this. They didn't send me the IEM, they just sent me the hat. But thank you anyway. I was gonna wear this in the video, but I don't really look that good in a hat. But yes, thank you so much. It's still really, really cool. But let's get on with what you guys clicked on this video for. The review of 7 Hz Timeless. The IEM version. Not the hat, the IEM version. Hey friends, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio. Now, this has been highly requested for me to review and also highly requested to compare to many different IEMs out there. So to start off this review, let's do something a little bit different and start off with the comparison first. I'm gonna tell you which IEM does the timeless beat, or which IEM is the timeless better than. Number 1, the timeless is better than Moondrop Kato. Number 2, the timeless is better than C Audio Bravery. My favorite Bravery. Number 3 is better than Tansjim Oxygen, which is mind-blowing because the Tansjim is $50 more than the timeless, and the Tansjim is already a very, very, very solid IEM. I love the Oxygen a lot. I love the Bravery a lot. I love the Kato a lot, and timeless just destroys those IEM. I mean, not completely annihilate them, but it is better nonetheless. Now, the only IEM that I recommend a lot that still beats the timeless at around a similar price point are the Blessing Twins. So the Blessing 2 and Blessing 2 Dust, I still say are better than the timeless, but the timeless is $100 less. And I would argue that the timeless only comes slightly bit behind the Blessing 2 and the Blessing 2 Dust for $100 less. And on top of that, it is a planar IEM. So planar IEMs, if you don't know, don't have the best reputation. There's not a lot of good ones out there that I would say are top tier or that competes with like the really high-end IEMs out there. So timeless coming along, not only taking the spot now of the best planar IEM on the market, but also taking the spot of the best IEM definitively under $300. This is the best $300 can buy you. And you don't even need to spend all $300. You only need to spend $220 to get this. Yeah, it's, again, it's insane. Now, with all that out of the way, let's actually jump into the sound signature and let me explain to you why this thing is so good. All right, jumping into the sound of timeless. Now, this thing has a kind of a V-shaped signature, if you will, a mild V-shaped signature where it's focused a lot on the bass. Now, it's a lot of bass here, strong bass, good power. I would say enough power to even satisfy some bass heads as well. But the best part about the bass is that it is super fast. It hits with really clear separation. So every little bass nuances, bass details are nicely clean and separated, which makes the bass just feel really fun and just very dynamic. I love that part about the bass. The only thing about the bass that's keeping it from being the top tier bass is the attack. The attack of the bass is a little bit on the soft side. It's not the most impactful hit. The initial slam or the initial hit, if you will, is a little bit on the softer side, but still the decay is rather short, which makes every element of the song nicely clean and separated, and hence the bass just feels fantastic. On to the mid-range. It has a V-shaped style mid-range, meaning that the mid-range is a little bit I would say recessed, just ever so slightly recessed. It's not really front, forward, and full, I would say, especially in like the lower mid-range area. The upper mid-range though, on the other hand, does come across quite aggressive. Not too aggressive to the point where it's like shouty or annoying or anything like that, but you do feel it front and center. So female vocals and some male vocals are gonna feel quite intimate to listen to, but at the same time, with a little bit of a dip in the lower mid-range, it does make the mids overall comes across a bit thin, a bit small and squeezed, if you will, for my liking. I like my mids to be a little bit more natural, maybe not too forward, not too backwards, a little more natural, a little more smooth than this, but at the end of the day, it's really not bad. It's a V-shaped style mid-range, so you guys know what to expect already. It's not gonna be the most natural sounding mid-range. This one, again, like most V-shape, does come across slightly bit thin, but really nothing to complain. Still a very well-tuned mid-range in general. Moving on, we have the treble area, and the treble on this is fantastic. It's really, really good. It has a lot of energy, enough energy to bring out a lot of the little nuances in the song. All the micro details is front and forward, and when you pair that again with the really good dynamic that these have, the fast speed of these IEM, it makes the little details come across quite cleanly and reveals a lot more of the song than a lot of other IEMs in its same price bracket. It really fights with the $300 to $500 bracket IEM when it comes to detail retrieval, and the treble is a really big help in that department. Now, the treble being as energetic as it is, you might think that it can be fatiguing for some. No, not at all. I'm treble sensitive. These has never bugged me in any way. It's just enough energy to bring out all the details without crossing the line to becoming fatiguing. Next, we have the technical performance, details, resolution, soundstage, imaging, and all of that stuff, right? When it comes to resolvability, these IEMs are no slouch, and it is what puts this IEM at a different echelon than a lot of IEMs at this price point. The detail retrieval on these are very, very good. Bring up my scale now, you see a star field in the middle, Moondrop Variation, and then Anole VX being the most resolving. And on the other side, we have Blonde 03 and the pixelated trash can for no resolvability whatsoever. These are almost as resolving as the Moondrop Variation. And the Moondrop Variation is probably one of the most resolving IEMs for $500. These are slightly bit behind the Variation in detail retrieval. My mind has been blown once again in probably the third time in this video now. In respect to that information now, I'm gonna be replacing the Moondrop Variation with the Timeless. There you go. It's now replaced. The Variation is no longer on my scale. I mean, it's still better than the Timeless, but now, you know, I don't want to have two Moondrop on my scale. So I'm gonna replace the Variation with the Timeless now from now on. So yes, $200 is as resolving, or almost, I would say almost as resolving as something at $500. And that's what really sets the Timeless apart from its, you know, other IEMs in the same price bracket, is that the resolvability, the detail retrieval on these is similar to what you would get $350 plus, and even sometime in the $500. And for $200, it's almost unfair to have performance this good. All right, next we have imaging and soundstage. I would say imaging here is competent. You can tell which direction instruments are coming from. You can tell the depth of the instrument, which one is closer, which one is further. So in that sense, it is above average imaging wise. Soundstage wise, I would say these are a little bit above average as well. It's a little bit outside of your head. It's not a totally inside your head experience, but it definitely has more depth than it does have width. So to put it the most simply, it is just slightly above average. I would say it is as wide as the Moondrop Aria, maybe slightly bit wider. And for context, many IEMs are average or under soundstage wise. So being above average is already kind of rare. So yeah, soundstage is good. All right, that's all I have to say about the 7Hz Timeless. So what's the final verdict? My final verdict is that this is a unicorn. It's one of those rare IEMs that comes around once every year or once every 2 years or so that completely annihilates the price bracket that it's in. And I know this video was a lot of hype, a lot of happiness, a lot of energy towards you guys, and a lot of just overwhelmingly positive thoughts, but it's hard not to give those positive thoughts when it's so cheap, you know? It's $200 and you get performance of 3 to 5. It's a no-brainer. It's quite a no-brainer. And I'm happy to celebrate this once in a year or two unicorn that we get. We don't get these type of IEMs that often. So when we do, it's a good time to be happy. Yeah, that's all I have to say. 7Hz Timeless, love it, extremely impressed. And in fact, it's gonna be in my daily rotation, in use with a lot of my other IEMs from now on as well, because it is just that good. All right, guys, that's it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you found this video helpful. And also in the description, there's a link to my Facebook group where you can watch all these videos early, and also a link to my overall IEM ranking list where you can see every single IEM that I've ever tried, you know, measure against each other in a more measurable way. There you go. With that being said, I'll see you guys in another video. Peace out.